Hi, my name is Emma Bell, and I play Amy on The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Creech Questions.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of Creech Questions, brought to you by the Dead Connection. I'm CJ Creech, your host, and as usual, that is the Irma and Louise in the background with the theme song for Creech Questions, East Virginia. Now, today is a very special episode pertaining to something that Creech Creative has been involved with for quite a while now. Today is a special Walker Stalker Con episode of Creech Questions. And what that means is we will be bringing audio from panels that we've recorded parts of for you to listen to today. But before we get into that, we got to go ahead and take care of our shout-outs.
You give me a gift, bam, thank you note. You invite me somewhere, pow, RSVP. You do me a favor, wham, favor returned. Do not test my politeness.
Shoutouts this week are like the podcast itself, Walker Stalker Con themed. Our first shout-out is for James and Eric, the Walker Stalkers. If it wasn't for these two gentlemen, there would be no Walker Stalker Con. And if it wasn't for all of their help and support throughout these past 2 years, Creech Creative and Creech Questions in general would not have gone as far as it has. To have the full support of both of these men has been extremely helpful for my career, and I am extremely blessed to have them in my life. Next up is Michael Guthus, aka Guth. He is the press relations guy for Walker Stalker Con. If you've heard our podcast with Lou Temple, or Brighton Charbonneau, or Jeffrey DeMond, these were all made possible by Michael. So I want to thank him and give him another shout out again as well. It's amazing to me that almost from very top to bottom, anybody with an official title at Walker Stalker Con is some of the nicest, most generous, and helpful people you could ever meet. I could list them all day, like Hacksaw Jack, who's the cosplay coordinator. These guys and girls are some of the best and nicest people I've ever had the opportunity to meet or work with. So I want to give a shout out not just to James and Eric and Michael, but the whole entire Walker Stalker Con organization. Like I said, from top to bottom, it's just full of good people. Now, before we get into these panels, if you would like to be a part of these, all you got to do is find out if they're coming to your town and go. Walker Stalker Con is an amazing experience that literally changed my life the first year I went, and the inaugural one in Atlanta in 2013. If you want to see where they're going, go to www.walkerstalkercon.com. They'll have all their dates and cities on their site. The first couple of audio snippets are going to be from the cast of AMC's Comic Book Men. These guys are an absolute hoot to listen to, so I hope you enjoy.
AMC dragged their heels on season 1, so we didn't get our same producing team back. One of our then execs, she's not there anymore, she put her own producing team together for season 2, who I started butting heads with immediately. Like, those guys all wear a staff shirt because it makes sense, they work there, and for the purposes of editing, it makes it a lot easier. You can interchange stuff, but I wear different shirts. Like, I'll wear shirts of bands or things I like. And he told me,
King Diamond?
Little King Diamond action. So the showrunner guy said, normally we notice, even where, in the first season you were wearing, I guess, 5 or 6 shirts. We want to knock it down to 4. And I was like, all right, I can deal with 4. Then it became 2, and then he was like, we just want you to wear the same shirt. And I said, it's going to be ridiculous. I'm wearing the same shirt in every episode? Like, who does that? And he goes, yeah, well, that's, it'll be easier for editing, blah, blah, blah. So I made a shirt with a picture of a giant penis on it with lightning bolts next to it that that said Dick Magnet. And I cut it off right here so it was a bare midriff. And I brought it in the first day and I said, this is the shirt I want to wear. So after that, as you can see in season 2, I'm wearing quite a few different styles because they lost. But I butted heads with them immediately.
Know what one title is that you think is underrated and deserves more exposure?
I mean comic book title?
Yeah, comic book title.
There are a whole bunch. I think that I'm going to throw this out there. We were talking about this up in the green room. Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Ooh, we were in the green room. Do you know what a green room is, commoners?
So that's a brand new title.
I heard a loud scream in there. It was Mike, the Vampire Diaries guys had come in, and Mike likes the Vampire Diaries. You were screaming.
Ming, there are kids in the audience, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what I want to say to you, but no, I don't. And that's this. Thank you, folks. Thank you for not encouraging him. All right?
Oh, I'm sorry, the title, Mike. The title.
I gave it to you. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And also a comic book called The Green Room. If you guys can get it, I recommend it heartily.
It comes with some good coffee. I can say
Yes,
that.
true.
That's for sure.
I'm a big fan of the Marvel Now Hawkeye. I don't think it's underrated, perhaps, but I think more people should be reading it.
Ming recommends that title because it's the only title he reads. So if you get a chance,
I read
go out and pick it up.
It's very purple. Very purple.
I don't really have an answer for your question, but we did go to a place called the Claremont Lounge last night. I know this is sort of a PG-13 audience, and it can't be too dirty, but I mean, it's the reason they invented the word spectacle. You've never seen anything like it. The oldest woman there, it's a strip club. She's 68.
Had some weird stuff. Didn't we have a pair of ladies' underwear floating around that was screen used?
Did Ming buy it?
Oh no, there was Linda Fiorentino's underwear from Dogma. I was digging through like a storage bin. And I pulled them out.
That's the story.
And by storage, he means his trophy box under his bed at home.
And there was a wardrobe tag on there that had her name on it. I think I still have them. I kept them. But that's not something brought in the store though.
Yeah, you brought them in the store, man. Hey, look what I got.
I still think that this dude brought in was a Mego Stretch Hulk.
Yeah, the stretch Hulk was a little weird.
It was one of those ones that was it late '70s where you could take
Like a stretch
it out.
Armstrong, but it was
Yeah, but it was stretching.
But his claim to fame is it had never been stretched before, and he kept it supple by rubbing sex toy lube on it. And yeah, that was pretty strange. And the personality of the guy who had it kind of matched that whole thing.
I'm trying to think about the mindset of somebody who would never play with something but rub lube all over a toy for eventual resale.
Yeah.
Want to buy that?
Next up is Merle Dixon himself, Michael Rooker, talking to the fans.
Hi, my name's Jenny. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama.
Right on.
Pardon?
Right on, baby. Right on.
My question is, when Merle let Michonne go, let her free, what do you think his thought process, your character's thought process is? Why he changed his mind?
It's better if she's with the group and fighting. It would give my brother a better opportunity to survive. And I was getting tired of hearing her yak. Next.
Are you still watching?
Huh?
Still watching the show?
Oh, yeah, I'm a fan. I watch the show. I watched, yeah. As a matter of fact, I watched. My hotel doesn't have AMC. Can you believe it? So I'm trying to find the show. I'm going like, my show, where is it? I can't see it. It's not even, they don't even have AMC. I called down and they don't have it. So I called home. I FaceTime home. And they put their phone like this, and the TV's right here, and I watch the first episode like this.
Alright, next up is Scott Wilson, Emily Kinney, and Lauren Cohen as they answer fan questions and talk about their favorite lines from The Walking Dead.
What is the hardest thing that you had to do on set?
I think it's really interesting because sometimes something that would be traditionally difficult can feel like a relief if you've been doing a ton of really difficult action stuff and then you have an emotional scene, but the emotional scene actually lets you sort of like let go of a lot of this built up emotion. The environment that we work in on the show can get very tense, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. And so traditionally I think you can look at a scene or a situation and say, okay, I have to call up these emotional memories, or I have to go to these emotional places. And that can be very difficult, but sometimes it's such a sort of necessary release. And I just think it always goes back and forth between like the physical demands of the show and the emotional demands of the show. So I don't know what I find more difficult. I think they balance each other out. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I feel like every day is so different. You know, some days with acting or with any kind of like when you're making stuff, and some days one scene could be really, really difficult, and the next day that same scene could just come so easy in a certain way or feel easy in a certain way. So, but I know what you're saying with like the emotional stuff on this show. It's like now we've been working on it for a few years and we're all down in Georgia together. Some of those emotional scenes, which maybe would be difficult in an acting class or something like that, seem to just come easy in a certain way, which is really nice. I think this show allows us all to do some of my best, or for me, our best work.
That's what one of the appeals of the show is. There's so much action and there's all this emotion and character work, so it appeals to all.
It's interesting to me because I haven't been involved in a TV show to the extent that I was in this. But if you do a play, you realize the full arc of the character in one evening. If you're doing a film, you see the full arc of your character from the beginning to the end. You may shoot out a sequence, but you know where the character's going. And it's interesting in this that you don't really know the full arc of the character. So it constantly changes, and you plant things that you think maybe will pay off later. You have a look that you think maybe will set something into motion later. And so it's an evolving process that makes it more exciting in a way, more interesting.
Thank you.
Over here.
My question is, what do you think would have happened differently if Herschel and Beth had arrived at Terminus with them?
I can't answer that.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, more people to help fight back. I don't know. I think it would be awesome.
It's a good question. It's like that sliding doors kind of. I guess because in the comic too, there are people like you were talking about, Andrea, who are still alive, and how would that change? I guess it's a never-ending question.
Thanks. Okay, one more. We have time for one more.
Hi, my name is Lauren. It's the most awesome name on the planet, by the way. My question is actually for Scott. Would Herschel support a romantic relationship between Beth and Daryl? Because I sure don't support it.
What is the father to do?
If he says no, then the kid's just going to rebel, right?
Yeah.
So,
you know, affairs of the heart are very personal, very, regardless of what someone else may think is in the best interest of someone, it doesn't mean that it really is, because you cannot really read their hearts. So if it's something that they're mutually agreed upon, then you really have to be careful about what you're doing with them, that you can hurt.
Thank you so much.
Before we wrap up, is there anything that you guys want to say to people?
Our dad just wants his girls to be happy. Wouldn't stand in the way of love. That's all I have to say.
This weekend, we're all having it's fun for all of us. Like get to see Scott or get to see past Walking Dead members. So it's fun for us. So thanks for coming out and making it such a fun weekend.
We miss you, Herschel.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin and I'm from Ohio. My question is for each of you. What's your favorite line or quote you've gotten to say on the show?
Oh, this one Beth didn't actually say, but it's just always stuck with me since second season. And Andrea says it to Beth, and she says the pain doesn't go away, you just make room for it. I love that. I think that's true about, it doesn't just fit in the show, it kind of fits in life in a certain way. So that one has always stuck with me.
Maybe I don't want to be afraid of being alive, like when Maggie might have that scene at the beginning of season 4. And what exactly did she say? I'll come back to you in a second.
Glenn said something like,
Oh, that's how we stay alive. And I said, no, that's how we keep breathing.
That's right.
That was it. Thank you.
I like that too.
I think one of my favorite lines was when Herschel said after the end of the second season, they're on the side of the road, and he said, Jesus promised the resurrection of the dead. I just thought he had something a little different.
Thank you.
Next question.
Up next is the man himself, Andrew Lincoln, as he answers fan questions and talks memories from The Walking Dead. This one was actually back in October 2013 at Walker Stalker Con Atlanta.
What was it that interested you most about playing the character of Rick Grimes?
Well, obviously working with Norman Reedus was quite... there were so many things that intrigued me about it. Frank Darabont was the first guy that just got me hooked in, and then I read the script, and I just thought it was I'd never read anything quite like it. And then I started looking at the comic book, and I just thought, well, this was probably going to be the most punishing role I've ever attempted. And I don't know, it's just grown from that. It began as one thing, and I keep saying this, is that it's sort of turned into, it's not our show anymore. It's just got nothing to do with us. It's your show, and I just want to tell the greatest story that we possibly can for you guys, because it's become this beast. And I don't know, I don't think I would have been cast in Europe as Rick Grimes. I just don't. I'd done comedy, as someone just said, I'd done comedy, I'd done a lot of romantic roles and things like that, and the opportunity to play a badass sheriff, I was just like, are you kidding me? What, I get to wear sort of boots and ride a horse and shoot people for a living? I'm like, count me in. I've still got so many buddies back home who just keep going, what the fuck? How did you land that? They keep going, really? You? But in all seriousness, it was Frank, it was Gail Ann Hurd, it was Greg Nicotero, it was AMC. I'd been watching Breaking Bad and one of the greatest shows since The Wire, I think, in my opinion, and Mad Men, and I just thought this feels like there's a golden age of storytelling going on in TV at the moment, and when I got the gig, I said this in an interview sort of a couple of days ago, and I said there are certain roles that you jump up and down when you get the gig. There was a play that I did called Blue Orange, which was that. there was This Life, which was the first thing I ever bagged out of drama school, and this was the next one. I was jumping up and down, going, "I got fucking Rick Grimes, motherfucker!" Like this. And I was in the middle of Wiltshire, with my family, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" But it was my brother, my beloved brother, who is a real sci-fi fan. He's a smart cookie, and he just said, and he was the guy who got it first. He said, "You better not fuck this up, bro, because this is a big thing like this." And I went, "Really? Is it?" He went, "Oh yeah." So yeah, hopefully, we keep not fucking it up. Right? Excuse me if there are children in the audience. Apologies to those parents.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well. What's your name, sir?
Josh.
Josh. How are you?
Good.
Let's keep saying, how are we?
How are you? I was wondering if the show takes a toll on you in real life. Like, do you go shopping at Walmart or whatever and just, like, keep eyes in the back of your head just in case?
I did run into somebody in a grocery store the other day, and I was just picking up some aubergines. Oh, you don't say aubergines. What is it? Eggplants. Kryptonite. But yeah, and I was just sort of minding my own business as much as you can at the moment, and this guy just went, "Hey, Mr. Lincoln," and I went, "Hey." And he said, "You don't remember me?" And I was like, "No." He said, "My name's John. You stabbed me in the head last week." Josh, this is my life now. So yeah, it is kind of weird. This time of the year, especially when the show's out, it becomes a little intense.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm well.
Let's stay here for a while. We got 10 minutes.
So I notice in real life you don't have much of a southern accent.
Are you kidding me? I'm from Alabama. In the house.
I actually am too.
Keep it quiet as a mouse.
Yes.
What am I saying?
I'm actually from Alabama too, so. And I do have a southern accent. So how long did it take you to get the Rick voice, to prepare to get that, tone and that timbre?
It depends. I came early. When I got the gig, in the sort of, with my brother's voice echoing in my ears, "Don't fuck it up." I thought I would arrive early and get the accent in place. And I worked with an amazing dialect coach called Jessica Drake, who also David Morrissey and Elsie and and a few others that come on the show work with. And she's amazing. She writes it phonetically. And it looks like gibberish. And I've done it at dinner parties. I've just said, I got people drunk and just go, "Read this." And they go, "My name is Rick Grimes." And it's amazing. It's like cheating. But yeah, I came and I thought, that I wanted to get that done before I even saw a zombie, because I'd have a lot more to worry about on my plate. But I wreck my voice sometimes, so if there's any extras or people that have worked on the show here, they see me do quite weird shit on the show, and a lot of it, because if you've been without water and things, I just like, there's a tone that the Atlanta, anybody who lives here knows it dries you out, and if there's an emotional scene, I said to John Bernthal one time when he emailed me, he said, "Oh, how's it going?" I said, "I'm going to wreck my voice." He went, "Oh, it's one of those days like this." And, unless I've lost my voice, I don't think I've done the job some days. Screaming, some big action sequences demand that you don't look after your voice. And I suppose I have lost it a couple of times. But that means that I'm obviously doing my day job,
Thanks.
Not to be outdone, and also to have a fitting end for these snippets, we've got pieces of the bromance panel between, once again, Andrew Lincoln and pretty much any female's favorite character, Norman Reedus, aka Daryl Dixon.
There have been a lot of changes, and I want to know, do you like yourself shaven or unshaven? Do we like bearded Rick?
Okay. Say hell yeah if you want the beard back. You're all gonna have to speak to my wife about that.
Hey, you know what's crazy is I have his beard in a Ziploc bag in my refrigerator. True story.
That's really?
This is for real. He said to me, and he just went, when we had to do this, are we allowed to talk about? No, this is a terrible.
Can't talk about that.
Don't. Whatever happens, when I died from the show this season.
No.
I can rebuild him with his DNA.
He says, I want Andy's DNA. So that's what he's going to do.
So Norman's growing another Andy.
Yeah.
So that he can have Andy with him all the time.
In fact, I'm the first clone here. So
Chia Andy.
Chia Andy. Well, there's a Chia right here, actually.
Is that what that
right
is?
There. Yes.
If you could switch places with any character on the show, who would you switch with?
I don't want to be Andy. I don't want to be Rick. It's too much work. I'm not that driven. God, I don't know. Maybe Chandler.
Carol.
That would be weird if I was Carol. Probably Chandler, because that's, what a
No, but then you have
storyline.
to have school. And
Oh, yeah,
that's
no,
really bad news. Chandler
Judith.
goes
I'll be Judith. I'll just lay there. It'll be great.
No, the truth is, she knows her lines a lot better than you do.
Totally true.
All right, that's
Andy,
great.
you didn't answer it though, did you?
Who would I?
Yeah.
I don't want to change Rick Grimes for anybody. I love this. I'm not trading him in.
My question is for Norman. I came all the way from Boston, so I'm a huge Boondock Saints fan.
Thank you.
So my question is that I was wondering, an actor is lucky to get one career-defining role where everybody remembers you as, oh, you're that guy from that movie. And Norman, you're lucky to have two. You have people that remember you as Murphy McManus from the Boondock Saints, and now you have a lot of people that know you as Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. I was wondering how that makes you feel, and which of the two characters is closer to your actual personality?
Wow. It's lucky that I'm not defined by a whole bunch of other roles I played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was awesome on Charmed. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It feels great. That the Boondock Saints was. It's interesting because that movie never went to theaters and it never got any posters, any advertising, and because of word of mouth, it became this huge cult film. It made hundreds of millions of dollars, and we shot that for $6 million just like on a prayer. And it's because of fans of the movie that it became something. So I went into like Twitter and social media, and just my career kind of started in a way of it's ours. It was never like I'm hiding behind an agent or hiding behind Hollywood. I don't even live in Hollywood, but any of that crap. And it became like a people's movie. And going into this show, we didn't know what this show would become, and we just liked the material and liked the people with it, and it's become like the people's TV show. It's a corny phrase, but it kind of feels like that, you know? And to roll like that is really cool, you know? Like if I was Green Lantern or whatever, and I had nothing to do with it, it wouldn't have felt like that. But because it was sort of a grassroots thing, and it's just, the wave just keeps getting bigger, but it's full of all the same people in the wave. So it feels good, you know?
So I have a question for both of y'all. your characters have grown so much, like, over the years. So what's been your favorite character development that your character has had?
Well, I would say my beard, but it is no more.
I like the Cherokee Rose story because that kind of came out of nowhere. You know, the looking for Sophia thing was cool. The Cherokee Rose thing, it was such a different direction. I like that little arc.
Yeah, and I think when, at the end of season 2, because I thought John Bernthal did such an incredible performance throughout that whole season, that transformation that he made as Shane was awesome. And I think that, yeah, he's one of the greats, that guy, man. He's a seriously fine actor. And I think that scene at the end with me and him when I had to stab him, his job, man, what a job. What a wonderful actor. And then I stab him in the heart. And then my son shoots him in the head. It's not like any other job I've done.
And then he shoots his mom as well.
Then he shoots the mom. Yeah, but I think that was a turning point for Rick, certainly, because it was a point at which he jumped off the abyss. He realized that Shane wanted to kill him and yet couldn't. Rick was one of those people that can just jumps off. And I think that was a huge shifting point for his development.
Alright, before we wrap up another edition of Creech Questions, I want to give a shout out to my crew that is now preparing for Walker Stalker Con Orlando. That would be myself, Chastity, and David Parker Davidson. We are preparing to leave for Orlando in 3 weeks, which is why this is the last episode until after Walker Stalker Con Orlando, as we've got a lot of prep to do with the cameras, audio equipment, make sure everything's in tip-top shape for Orlando. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Twitter at CJCNOV88, Tumblr and Instagram at Creech Creative, Facebook at facebook.com/Creech Creative Productions. If you search Creech Creative on YouTube, you can find my channel under Charles Creech. And I also suggest, if you also want to look at the other panels that Walker Stalker Con has had previously, check out theirs at the Walker Stalkers. You can also follow them on Twitter and Facebook at the Walker Stalkers. It's going to be a long 3 weeks not getting to talk to all of you. I hope to see some of you down in Orlando. Once again, if you want to purchase tickets and also see who's coming, www.walkerstalkercon.com/Orlando is the site to go to. Now that is going to do it here. We'll see you in a little over 3 weeks. This has been CJ Creech. Thank you once again for listening to Creech Questions, and I cannot wait to show you what we've got in store for you at Walker Stalker Con.
Hey y'all, this is Lou Temple. Greg Nicotero.
Patty Miller.
T-Love. Sarah Jensen.
Emma Bell.
Big Chen. Vincent M. Ward. Jeff Cobra.
Jose Pablo Cantillo.
Danny Robot. Lawrence Gilliard Jr. Nestor Carbonell. Harold Parano. Daniel Thomas May. Ellen Moss.
Sarah Wayne Callies.
Chad L. Coleman.
I'm RJ Babe from Breaking Bad.
Bates Motel.
AMC's Comic Book Man.
The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Creech.
Creech.
Creech Questions.
You better listen up good or I'm coming get you.
Hey everyone out there, this is CJ Creech, and you too can listen to our celebrity interviews on our podcast, Creech Questions. Check us out on CreechCreativeProductions.com and Facebook.com/CreechCreativeProductions.